Everyone just wants to live, laugh, love. But in this disappointing world, there are many who are
Hello?
faced with lies.
I'd never been lied to this extent before. Oscar nomination, she is an actress.
It's just so strange that someone can make up that much,
Like, for so long.
and to keep it going,
And keep up with it. Never tell anybody about this, ever.
Girl, we on a podcast.
This is Live, Laugh, Lies.
Adele, welcome to Live, Laugh, Lies.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here all the way from Florida to LA.
Yeah.
How was the journey?
It was good. My flight got delayed like 4 hours.
Okay.
But other than that, it was fine.
Yeah.
Smooth flight. So I'm happy to be here. I made it in one piece. So I'm
Made
good.
it in one piece. We love to see it. Okay, so we came across your story on TikTok. Stopped us in our tracks and actually shockingly uncovered some weird similarities from not the same thing, but I dealt with somebody in college as well that was a pathological liar. So found a lot of similarities. It was very interesting, very juicy, but I really just want to have you on today to tell us the full story. I feel like on TikTok you're limited to a 10-minute period of time, but we have questions. We need to know everything.
I'm so excited.
In the early days of developing this show, Adele's viral TikTok came across our desk.
Call me crazy if you want, but I've never liked store-bought pesto.
Susie, you kook. That is crazy. One time,
And we were immediately captivated. Oftentimes, we associate stories of lying with romantic relationships. However, as we will learn today with Adele's story, liars can come in all forms, even best friends.
So let's take everyone back to when this whole roller coaster first started. How did you meet this friend that her real name's not Penny, right?
No.
Okay, how did you meet the person that we will call Penny?
Yes. So Penny and I met, I think it was probably my sophomore year or the end of my freshman year of college. I was a psych major in college and she was a psych major as well. So we met in one of our undergrad psych classes. I really don't even remember which one. And I think she was we were sitting beside each other, or maybe I was sitting behind her, something like that. And I don't know, we struck up conversation after class. And I just remember I was walking back to my dorm and she was walking with me and she was like, oh, I'm so excited that we're friends and I don't have many friends. And I remember being that's so weird. Why not? I wonder, she's so, chill and cool. But also she hadn't been there for that long. I think she was either the same year as I was. I think we were the same year, yeah. So I didn't have that many friends at the time either, so it didn't seem suspicious because we had just gotten there, so it must have been my freshman year. But yeah, that was how we met, and then she would just text me to hang out or catch lunch, and then we ended up finding out that we had a friend in, a mutual friend in common.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that friendship kind of blossomed from there.
Okay, and who was your mutual friend?
Marcy. I met Marcy in a group thing that my school does to get new students to know each other.
Yeah.
We were in the same group and she needed a ride to go get something that the group needed and we became friends, and then it turns out that we both knew Penny, and so then the three of us started hanging out all together. We'd go to Chipotle and walk class together and things like that.
I feel like people have a variety of different experiences. I was so fortunate and became besties with my college roommate. We immediately clicked. We were best friends. We stayed roommates the whole time. We were inseparable. Mm-hmm. When Penny told you that she didn't have other friends, did it raise some kind of hair on the back of your neck where you're why have, we're at least a year into college, you don't have really anybody else that you hang out with? Or did it just feel kind of normal to you because college is hard?
Yeah, it felt pretty normal because kind of what you said, college is hard, and we had been there for quite some time, but not an extensive period of time. My memory is also horrible, so I don't remember how far into the year it was, but kind of like you, I became really close with my roommates. I'm still really close with them. Mm-hmm. I had 7 roommates.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Real in a house?
No.
What?
No, it was 4 girls to a room. Yeah.
So suite mates?
Yes, right. So I had 4
Oh
suite
my
mates
gosh.
and then 3 roommates. But we're all BFF.
That's so
we
fun.
lived together. I came in their sophomore year, so we kept living together, and then we all graduated, and I still live with one of them now. So yeah, I became really close to all of my roommates. So I kind of just understood or I just assumed that like when she said she didn't have any friends, she didn't mean like her
Anyone.
roommates,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like she
yeah.
just meant like outside people. Because I had friends that I lived with,
Right.
but you don't want to spend all your time with them. They have like other friends, especially since my roommates were older than I was. So they had friends from like years before that I didn't know. So I was like, oh, like she doesn't have any friends, but she doesn't mean like no friends. She just
Yeah.
means like not a lot of friends.
Right.
Come to find out, she really didn't have that many friends, but I don't know. I was just busy. I didn't like think anything of it. Like I
Right.
had never been like lied to this extent before. So like I was like la la la. Like it
Yeah,
never would have
new
raised any.
friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Totally.
A hot tip that literally nobody asked for. I would say that this, in fact, is a red flag. But really, what do I know? I've only heard every horror story imaginable when it comes to liars.
Okay, so you, Marcy, and Penny become BFFs. You're hanging out, spending all of your time together, or a lot of your time together. And Penny starts to date, we'll call him athlete number one. How does she claim that she met this athlete?
So athlete number one, so they actually didn't start dating right away. She told us about athlete number one. I don't remember how far into like our friendship, but it was a pretty like normal thing, you know, like you're girls, you start talking about like the guys that you like, especially in college on a college campus.
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh yeah, like I have a crush on this guy. She, you know, showed us probably his Instagram or something. I don't know. I'm not really an athlete girl. Like I don't follow sports or anything like that.
Same.
And I wasn't really interested in any of the athletes at our school. So I
Same.
didn't know.
I wasn't, I'm an art girl.
Me too. Me too. I was like theater kids.
Yes,
like, you know, the boys that sing,
Oh,
little
you're in
worship team
band?
action. But she was like, oh, like football. I was like, oh, yeah, girl.
Okay, so athlete
sure.
number one was a football guy, is that right?
No, I think he was a
Basketball?
Yes.
Okay,
He was a
basketball.
basketball guy. And I actually ended up knowing more about him because he ended up being friends with one of my friends. That's hard to track. But one of my friends had a friend that was on the basketball team, a very good friend.
Okay.
And those two, athlete number one and that friend, were good friends. So I kind of knew of this person. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, like athlete number one. Like I've heard of his name, you know, on campus. And yeah, she was like, oh, yeah, like I have a crush on him. I think he's cute. I think they had, at this point, a class together. Yeah, the timeline's like all whack in my brain because it was like 3 years ago, but I'm pretty sure at this point they had a class together. And it wasn't like she started dating him like right away, so it didn't seem like weird. Like she wasn't like, oh, this is my boyfriend. She was just like, oh, like this is a guy that I like. And then over time, she'd be like, oh, like I was walking by today and like he made eye contact with me and he held it for so long.
Yeah.
You know, it's like girl stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, girl, sure. I'm sure he's obsessed with you.
Yeah, no,
he's
literally,
in
he's
love
obsessed-
with you.
you guys are getting married.
Like he goes to this college because you go to this college. Like he knew you went here, so he enrolled. That's why.
Literally.
Yeah. So
Girl stuff.
exactly. It was that kind of vibe. And then she ended up getting hurt. She like got injured playing a sport, and then that was kind of around when they started like dating, because I remember when they were dating she was injured. So that was also kind of why a lot of people in my comments when I posted that video were like, didn't you think it was weird you never saw them together? And it was like, not really, because I didn't see a whole lot of her. Like this wasn't a girl at that point that I hung out with like every single day.
Okay.
I maybe hung out with her like once a week to twice a week. I'm always like a busy person. I've always been a busy person. I had like multiple jobs in college. I was still doing content back then. So it was always that like if I had to hang out with friends, I had to like make scheduled time
Right.
to hang out with them. So half the time that I would see her, like we'd just be driving to go wherever we were going. We didn't cross paths on campus a lot. And she was also like on crutches, injured. So like she wasn't just like out skipping by herself a lot either. But yeah, it was around that time that they started to like date.
Okay.
And she just kind of would update us like in the group chat and stuff. So it didn't seem weird because we'd already been talking about him for like months and months on end at that point.
Right. Okay, that was one of my questions was you didn't really like see them together. And that actually makes a lot of sense because obviously like in your TikTok that popped off, went so crazy viral. I understand people being like, but wait, like, were you guys not like going out, or like, were there not like basketball parties that you guys were like invited to because she was dating him? Like, I guess that's like where for a lot of people we're listening and we're like, wait, like how, like, do you just believe? But at the same time, it's like, who's lying about dating someone?
Right.
You
And that's what I
know?
also try to explain to people is like, I never prior to, like, never would have just assumed that she was lying about. Why would she lie? Why would you lie? So, especially about somebody who's on, like, he's on campus. I can just go see him and be like, oh, like, you know, how are you and Penny? And then your lie would be exposed. So why would anyone in their right mind lie?
Right.
So I wasn't really, like, suspicious. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, you know, checks out. And also, they weren't, like, boyfriend and girlfriend for like a while. Like we had already been hearing about him so consistently that it didn't seem odd that they would have started dating. Like I was like, oh, okay, well, congratulations, girl. Like happy for you.
Something I feel like back when I was like in high school and in college was like, I feel like athletes were kind of secretive about who they were dating. Like I don't know if that's like a stigma or if that's like old school, but I kind of feel like that was a thing where it was like, oh, you don't want your coach to think you're prioritizing your relationship over your sport. And like there's even like I think it's so weird, but I remember there being like certain sports where like people were like, oh, I can't like be public with my relationship. So as much as like it does feel weird, I do think that like sometimes athletes and in general, even in professional settings, like even today, it's so common for professional athletes to like have a full-blown girlfriend that is like
nobody
they don't
knows.
post them. They don't put which, let me be clear, I'm not here for it. Couldn't be me.
Me neither. Could not
you better
be
post me.
Could not be me.
I want to be front and center on your Instagram.
As you should be.
As I should be.
As you should be.
Thank you. Yes, like your content is now about me.
Yeah, this is a fan page for me. Yeah.
It is.
Change your name. Needs to say Susie fan page.
Exactly.
Adele fan page.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
That's the expectation. But I understand that's not how the world works for some people.
Yeah, it's
obviously not us.
No, could never be us.
Couldn't be us.
But you know, for some people out there, for some reason they don't feel that way. She you know, it wasn't concerning because, well, I think it also depends on like college culture and like what college you go to, which obviously, like you said, I had 9 minutes in my TikTok, so I didn't really go into like my college, but I went to a Christian private college.
Gotcha.
So it's a little different. The culture's a little different. There weren't like you said, like basketball party. Like it's a college. Like they were partying at the college, but it's not like a normal like party college thing where like everybody, you know, every Friday we're all out together. That's not the type of vibe that this was. So it wasn't shocking that we never really crossed paths with the athletes. So I didn't know like what they were doing or like what was going on. And then also like, it's all very secretive, especially since like they're athletes. So like, and it's a Christian private college. So like hookup culture is not really like a normalized thing. And so not to say that all athletes only care about hookup culture, but for the athletes that did, like they're not talking about that like openly out like, oh yeah, I went to this party on Saturday on the street of the college. Like you'll get in trouble for saying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was strict.
Yes. Yeah. No, like super strict. So things like that just kind of like we didn't talk about them. And I'm also not a partier. So I'll just take it at face value. Like if you tell me you went out Friday night and he was there and y'all were getting down, I'm so happy for you, girl. Yeah. I was asleep. I was in bed. So yeah, that kind of stuff didn't really like, I wasn't looking out for it because it wasn't in the culture of our school to like be concerned about really.
Okay, guys, we're taking a quick break to shout out Fungies. You guys know I'm a big fan over here. I've been taking their supplement for a couple months now. Taking Fungies is a crucial part of staying on top of my brain health because I have a poor memory. Lion's mane mushrooms have long been recognized for their potential cognitive benefits, including the improvement of memory, boost in energy, boost in focus, and they promote mental clarity. And it's a really easy thing to do because they taste so delicious. There's 4 different kinds that you can find even at your local Walmart. They're under $10, so they're really affordable. They're delicious. There's no bad aftertaste. Personally, I just take one of each, and I feel like I'm just getting in all the good nutrients. But on top of that, they come from lion's mane. So I know that I'm doing good things for my brain and for my brain health. So if you're ready to give your brain a boost, you can either go to Walmart, find these in the vitamin section, or go to eatfungies, EATFUNGIES.com, and use code LIVELAUGHLIES for 20% off and free shipping.
You saw athlete number 1 with another girl. Did you just tell her like, hey girl, I saw your man with another woman? Or were you like, what's going on? Or you get like, how did you approach the situation? Were you like nervous about having to break the news to her? Or were you starting to think maybe there's something fishy going on?
No, so honestly, neither. Athlete number 1 and her, I don't even know if they ever got to the point where they were like girlfriend, boyfriend official, you know, like
Gotcha.
currently right now we have all the stages. So there's like the talking
Yeah.
and then the like exclusive, but we're not like putting a label on it and blah, blah, blah. Not me. I like to go from talking to girlfriend and that's it. Like you have about 2 months to lock it down, otherwise I'm out. But we weren't doing that. And so they kind of were like talking and like a flirtationship thing for a little bit. And I don't even think if I knew at the time if they were like boyfriend, girlfriend.
Gotcha.
But I knew that they were supposed to be like exclusive. And I was walking through just like a common area of the school, and he was with this girl. And like I did like catch him with another girl, but firstly, I was not nervous because I will always back my girls. Like I'm always gonna be like, girl, yeah. And so that's basically what happened. Like I was on my way somewhere and I was like, la la. Is that who I think that is? And I like sent her like all these pictures of him.
Oh, so you took pictures?
Yeah, I sent her a picture of him and this girl. They weren't doing anything. They were just like sitting and chatting.
Yeah.
And it was in like a general public area, but it was towards the back. And like, you know, you can tell if people are just like, ah, ha, 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 or if they're like, ha, ha, ha. And that's what it looked like. I was like, why is he leaning in so intimately right now? So I sent it to her. I was like, girl, who is that with your man? Like that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that was, at that time, she was out of town. And she was out of town. I think it had something to do with her injury. Like she was going back home to do something with injury, something. And so she was gone. So that's why I was more so concerned about it, because I was like, okay, I don't see him out that often in general, but like he's out, you're not here, and he's with this girl and they look real chummy. Like, are you aware of the situation? Like what's going on? So yeah, I texted it to her and she was like, oh, like, yeah, we broke up, we're not together anymore, like sent me this long thing. And at that time, like right now I have best friends from college where like we talk every single day. So like we're always in communication, like constantly. But we weren't necessarily like that. Like me and Penny weren't like a talk every day type of friend. We were more so talk like every few days.
Yeah.
And like that's why we would have distinct times to catch up. So when she texted me and was like, oh, we're not together anymore, I was like, oh, okay, well, like, there's been a lot going on. Like, she just got injured and she had to go home and all this stuff. And I was probably focused on homework or whatever. And so I was like, oh, I guess she just, like, didn't tell me that they just did it. Also, like, they weren't, like, official.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, oh, my boyfriend broke up with me. It was like, oh, like, we were going to date and now we're not dating anymore. And so I was like, oh, okay, like, that sucks. But, like, that kind of thing.
And was her seeing him with this other girl though, was she like heartbroken?
Yeah, she definitely was. I do remember her being like upset, and like I said, like they weren't like boyfriend, girlfriend, like how, or at least I don't think they were, like how she was with Athlete 2. Like Athlete 2, which is later in the story, but they were like dating.
Yeah.
Athlete 1, like I don't remember if they were like boyfriend, girlfriend, but they were exclusive. So I do remember her being like upset. Like she was like, thank you so much for telling me. I think the way that she made it seem was that like she talked to him about it after seeing the picture that I sent her, and then they called it off.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I was like, oh, like sorry, girl. And she seemed like she was upset, but like we didn't like call or anything like that. So I was like, oh, like we'll talk about it when you get back.
Okay, so after you sent her these pictures, maybe they weren't really official, but like it probably wasn't cool for him to be acting that way towards another woman, and especially publicly. She has a full-on breakdown.
Yeah. So we were doing like one of our little, Three Musketeer catch-ups. We had just come back from like Chipotle or wherever. And we were driving back to campus in my car. And this was right after, or like right around when Olivia Rodrigo was like blowing up, right? For like Deja Vu, and like that album, Sour, had, I think, just dropped. So this was probably the fall after that, I believe.
Okay.
And so all of those songs were like in my like rotation on Spotify.
Period.
So we're driving around the lake, and all of these like sad, not Sabrina. I'm sorry, love you, Sabrina. Not Sabrina. Olivia songs are playing, and I'm like la 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 la, and Penny's in the passenger seat, and Marcy's in the back seat. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny. Well, she lied to me, so actually it's a little bit funny.
It can be funny.
But she starts crying. She's like looking out the window.
Oh.
Like Hannah Montana crying. Like
like hand on the window.
Yes, like she's like, I just can't. And I didn't notice she was crying because I'm driving, so I'm like, la 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 la. And then Marcy, I don't remember if she like whispered or whatever, but she was like, oh my God, like, why are you playing this song? Like, it was
bad timing.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember which song it was about, but it was about like one of her betrayal songs. You know, she was upset. Olivia was, and so Penny is just like feeling the vibes of this song. She's so upset because she can relate, and she starts like crying, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't think about it. Like, do you wanna? I think I asked her like, do you want to go back to campus, or do you just want to like drive around and just like vibe? And so we ended up driving around for a little bit and just like playing sad music, and then we ended up parking in like a Publix parking lot. And it wasn't that late. It was like 8 or 9 at this point. And I don't remember what she said, but we started like talking about it, and she was like, "It's just so, I can't believe that he would do that," and
Move
blah
on
blah
so
blah.
quickly.
And I don't remember what she said, but I remember that we had like a moment, and then we ended up going back, afterwards. But yeah, like full mental breakdown, like crying in my car about how heartbroken she was that Athlete One could ever do this to her. And I was like,
Right.
I'm so sorry, girl. This is so insensitive of me to not think about the tunes that I'm playing that are going to give you PTSD. So I felt really bad, but we ended up comforting her,
honestly,
and then it was fine.
Yeah, I feel like that's good. I feel like you got to drive around with your girlfriends with sad music and just feel it out sometimes.
Cry it out.
So
She had a good little detox.
I love that.
In good times and bad times, that's what friends are for. Adele, Penny and Marcy. 3 best friends navigating the ups and downs of college life. What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, so she detoxes. We're moving on with our lives. Athlete number 2 comes into play. Tell us about how that came about.
Athlete number 2, I don't remember when he appeared into the
Atmosphere.
Yeah, into the realm. But he was, I believe he played the same sport, but I don't remember. Another athlete.
Okay.
This one I didn't really know of like that. Like I said, athlete number 1, we kind of had like mutuals in common, so I knew his name. Athlete number 2, had never really heard of him before. But I was like, okay, sure. Shows me his Instagram. I was like, all right, girl, yeah, you got that. We didn't have the same type, so I was like, I'm gonna support you from right here. But yeah, I was like, okay, like sure.
Do you remember how long it was between like athlete 1 and athlete 2? Was it like the next semester, or was it like
Yeah, I
back
think
to
it was the
back?
next semester
Okay.
because she was no longer injured, I think, by athlete number 2. Yeah, by athlete number 2, she was no longer injured. And I don't remember what the injury was to begin with, but like I said, she had crutches, so it was a pretty serious injury. So she had time to heal
Okay.
before athlete number 2. Because athlete number 1, I remember she would tell us that like one time because she would get a golf cart, because we have golf carts in Florida school is very common, and she would get a golf cart to take her like to and from class because
The dream.
walking on walking on crutches was hard. And so one time like athlete number 1 like rode with her, and they like chatted and whatever, I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, that was like all athlete number 1 era, and then we went home. I don't remember for what break. It was like a Christmas break or maybe a summer break. And we actually met up because we were from the same home state. And so while I was on break, we met up and we're just like talking, debriefing, talking about like family situations and like friends. And I'm sure we talked about boys. I don't remember if athlete number 2 was introduced at that point. They definitely weren't together. I don't remember if she liked him or not yet. And then once we got back on campus, I believe athlete number 2 was introduced into the scene.
Okay.
If I'm remembering the timeline correctly. But I do remember towards the end of athlete number 2, she was completely healed and wasn't using crutches anymore. So they were definitely a pretty good distance apart, a believable
Okay.
distance apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And then athlete number 2 started buying her like gifts and stuff like that, supposedly. What, like on her first date, she came back with an Apple Watch?
He brought her, I think, out to eat somewhere. And then I just remember that she told us he took her to Target afterwards and like bought her all of these things. So he bought her a gym subscription, which I was like,
Okay.
why? Oh, okay. And then he bought her an Apple Watch and something else. I don't remember what it was, but something else that was like a little bit pricier. And I was like, oh my gosh, living luxury. Now, even at this point in time, now that I'm older, I would have been like, love bomber, question mark? You know, like
Right.
that would have raised concerns. But I was like,
Pop
what,
off.
like 19 or something?
Yeah.
And dealing with my own stuff. So I was like, okay, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, Apple Watch slay, I think.
Right. I mean, honestly, well, no, to be honest, right now, if somebody tried to buy me an Apple Watch my first day, I'd be like, I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was just really random. Like, I was like,
But I
why?
could see how like a 19-year-old, 20-year-old someone's taking me to buy, like, get me an Apple Watch, or they got me a nice gym subscription. All
Exactly.
these
Like,
things,
he's like treating her. I'm like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
after your last man did you so dirty. You
Right.
deserve this. You win. It's finally your time.
Yeah.
Everybody clap. So, yeah, we were excited for her. But, yeah, he was gifting her. And yeah, she came back and showed us the Apple Watch. And then obviously the gym subscription is not like a tangible thing that we can see.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if the other thing was or if it wasn't, but it wasn't like a car. It was like a speaker or something like that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
remember, something like that. That was like believable, but still like, oh, okay. Like he's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
buying you things. That's nice.
Also, like, it's just, like, to me, it's so shocking. Like, what college kid has money like that? It's so weird. Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, but then also it's a private Christian college.
that's true.
So a lot of them actually
Okay.
do have a little bit of, you know, something
A
to
little coin in the
spend.
bank.
Right.
Okay.
Especially since he was an athlete and he was older. I was like, okay, like sometimes when you have scholarships, I had a lot of
Mhm.
friends that had like scholarships and then I don't know how it worked, but like the rollover money. And then also at
Gotcha.
that point, we were really close to COVID and we were
Ah.
getting like COVID release funds.
Okay.
I don't remember how that worked, but like somewhere between like 2020 and like 2021, we
yeah.
were getting like money.
$1,100.
Yeah, like
I
some
remember
people were getting
that.
like a few thousand, some people were getting a few hundred. So it wasn't shocking that like he had some
little-
money because
yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, okay, like he could have a job. Like maybe his COVID relief was like a little bit on the higher. Like I had friends that got like really good COVID relief checks.
Dang.
And so I was like, okay, like he spent a little bit of his COVID relief savings on you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's doing his thing.
He's thoughtful. He's
yeah,
generous.
Exactly. We love a generous giver. He's a giver.
He's a giver.
giver.
A provider.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
so
So it wasn't
funny.
like, I don't know, I just wasn't concerned. Again, like I'm never gonna assume that you're lying to me. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he used his credit card. Whatever.
Yeah. On the Apple Watch,
Mhm.
was there like a picture of them or something like that? Or was
Yeah.
a picture sent to you?
No, so later on, after they had been dating for a while, because again, like she did end up becoming official with this athlete. She became
Okay.
like official with athlete 2 and was official with him for like a longer period of time
Okay.
than athlete number 1. And so like just in progression of them dating, like how, you know, like I have my boyfriend on my iPhone lock screen, like she had
Yeah.
pictures of him on her Apple Watch lock screen.
Okay.
And so we'd be like walking through campus and I remember I saw her wrist one time and it was like, you know, like it would change pictures. And I think it was like 2 that I saw of him. And I was like, oh, like that's so cute. And she was like, oh, yeah. And that's kind of it. Like she didn't like show them to us or anything. Like I just
Yeah.
happened to notice it. And I was like, oh, that's cute. Like you put him as your lock screen. How adorable. You kids are so cute. But yeah, she had him as her lock screen for, I don't know how long or if she like would switch it around when she was with other people. I don't know. But I just noticed.
Was it just a picture of his face or was it them together?
No, it was him, but oof, and I only saw it for like 5 seconds.
Okay.
But it wasn't like a coffee shop picture. I want to say that it was like him like running like a sport picture. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Which wasn't suspicious because again, he's an athlete. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, like she found a picture that she liked of him like I don't know, doing whatever the sport
Took a
was and like
screenshot.
took a screenshot and made it
Yeah.
her, which wasn't suspicious because my first boyfriend that I had, like I used to take his pictures off of Instagram and make them my lock screen
Yeah.
because like boys
He's a
don't know how to
cutie.
take good pictures.
Yeah, and it's like-
you work with what you have. And so if he has
Oh,
one
yeah.
good picture that he posted a year ago, chink, we know where that's going
Yeah.
on my lock screen. So I can be like, and that's my man.
No, it's so
That's him.
cute.
Yeah, so it wasn't shocking.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, like it was a picture of him like running across a field or something like that.
Okay. And then there was a picture that she sent you as well. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. Tell us the tea on this one.
Yeah, so she sent, I don't remember, I believe it was in the group chat that we had with Marcy. She sent us like, I think it was kind of random, a picture of her laying on his chest, which was already like scandalous because again, private Christian college, like
Yeah.
we're not allowed to be in each other's dorms.
Wow.
And so, especially since this was near COVID, so even like the girls weren't allowed to be in other girls' dorms for like social distancing and things. I don't remember if that had already dispersed at this point.
Okay.
But regardless of COVID or not, like a lot of private Christian colleges, you're not allowed to have opposite sex in your dorms like after certain hours or like directly in your like room. And so, yeah, she sent us a picture of him in her dorm. We assumed because she was laying on his chest, and it was like it was a picture of her laying on his chest, but like we couldn't see his face.
Okay. So it was like a selfie, but like below his chin.
Yes.
Like a selfie of her on his chest, below his chin.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And so it didn't seem weird because it was also like kind of closer to her face, and they hadn't been dating for like a really long time.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of assumed that she
Privacy.
didn't want to like she didn't want him to see her take the picture because it was like you know what I mean?
Okay.
Because they hadn't been together for that long. So I was like, oh, okay, like she is like excited that she's like,
Yeah.
you know, with the guy that she likes and like that's her man or whatever. But she's not gonna be like, okay, babe, say cheese. Like it's not at that point yet. So I was like, oh, okay, cute. And I don't remember what she said in the caption of the picture, but she just sent us a picture of her laying on his chest, and it was very obviously not like a hoodie like laying on the bed and then her laying on the bed. There was like depth to the thing she was laying on. So I was like, oh yeah, like that's clearly his chest.
That's a person,
Like
yeah.
that's a person she's laying on. And it was just her like smiling and looking all happy, and I was like, oh, so heartwarming. I'm so happy for her. She's just getting what she deserves, truly.
I love that. I mean, I feel like I don't know if people can tell or not by the context clues, but like spoiler, he was not in the sweatshirt.
Yeah, he's not in the sweatshirt. He was
That
not
was a
there.
pillow.
He was not there.
Right?
Yeah.
Like she had stuffed
yeah,
it with
she
a
had
pillow.
put a pillow into the sweatshirt and then laid on the unprovoked.
Unprovoked.
Because it's not like we asked her
We're
for
not
the
asking
picture.
for proof.
Like I wasn't like, oh, like, are you with him? Like send pics, or it didn't happen. Like she just like offered the picture. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so cute. Like, yay.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a pillow. It was a pillow.
Okay, so spoiler, it was a pillow.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with this athlete number 2, he has a girl best friend that Penny is like very insecure about. And she's like constantly talking to you guys like, I don't like this girl. I've like talked to her and like tried to be friends with her, and she's been kind of bitchy to me, like this, that, and the other. And you guys are like obviously on the side of your girlfriend where it's like, yeah, I mean, like, let's be real. Like, if I'm dating a guy and he has a girl best friend, I'm probably
Gonna be a little concerned.
and maybe not even proceed because that's like just not my vibe.
Yeah, it was one of
those.
those like serious girl best friends too, where it was like, okay,
Like they spend all their time together.
like he had a highlight for her, and I was like,
okay, on his Instagram,
so yes,
like a highlight.
I don't know if it like said like Haley or whatever her name was. I don't think it was like that, but it was like a highlight that like had a lot of pictures of her.
Okay.
Like a good amount of pictures of like them being like besties for the resties. And I was like, oh my God, how heartwarming and suspicious. Y'all kids don't lie to me. So I was like, oh, okay, girl. Like definitely be concerned. Like be very concerned.
Yes.
This girl didn't go to our school, obviously, so like we couldn't talk to her. It was like his like hometown best friend, I'm assuming, from like high school or something.
No way.
Yeah. So they had gone like way back, and so on his Instagram, like there were pictures of them from like a while ago, and then like she had commented on like a lot of his pictures, things like that. Like she was just very active in his social media profile, which now looking back, I'm like, and what was her excuse as to why he wasn't posting her? I don't know. I'm sure I asked and she gave me some sort of excuse.
Right.
But
I think also like it's just so nuanced. Like I think that's one thing I'm learning in today's day and age and like dating at this point in like history is like historically we have like dating norms. Like we have like things that we're accustomed to and like are considered appropriate, inappropriate. Obviously like cheating and lying are things that we've deemed inappropriate, but when it comes to social media, there's like such an unwritten code of conduct that like we all kind of write for ourselves.
Exactly.
And like some people are really comfortable posting who they're dating early on. Some people want to wait until they're like more certain that that's somebody they're gonna like have in their life. Like I want to tell my parents first before I post someone online. Like there's so many nuances to it, so it's understandable that you like. I don't know. It's like it's understandable that like these two people are dating. You're believing your friend because she's your friend.
Right, yeah.
There's no reason to lie.
Exactly. Like I'm not going to assume that she's lying. And then like you said, like especially right around that time, that was right when like soft launching was like the thing to do.
Okay.
Because soft launching was something that like prior to like a few years ago, only like celebrities were soft launching because like nobody else really cares. Nobody cares. Like we're not checking for you.
Right.
I mean, now I am. Now I'm definitely checking because it's like the trend now. You know, like you post like a picture of his like fingertip, and it's like, oh my God, whose fingertip is that?
Yeah.
So
His
now that's a
thigh
thing,
with, like, a
right?
little
With a little
dirty
like his
martini
like,
up here,
right,
like,
his
okay,
shadow. You're like, wait, whose shadow is that
A
in the
little
back? Zoom in a
hair,
little bit. But that was just becoming a thing right around then, and people were like starting to hold off on posting. And it was like, because I feel like at the beginning of Instagram, like you had a boyfriend, you posted the boyfriend, or like in middle school or high school, like he was in your bio, you had the highlight, like it was the whole thing. It was very public. And then right around like 2020, 2021, which is when we were in college, it started to be like, oh, like soft launch, and maybe we're private, not secret, and maybe we don't want to. And I did that with my boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
I think. I don't remember if we were dating at that time, but like right around then was when I also started to like slow down, because I hadn't been in a relationship prior to college. And I was like, I just know that once I have a boyfriend, it's just going to be like a whole thing. All my friends are going to be all... Friends is a strong word. People that I don't know that follow me on Instagram are going to be all up in arms, so let me just slow down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a shock that they weren't posting each other. But yeah, he was very like public about having this girl best friend that he had known for a long time. But again, like he wasn't dating the girl best friend. So I was like, I guess it's not weird that he's like posted the girl best friend in the past and isn't posting his girlfriend, but they haven't known each other for that long. So yeah, it was a weird dynamic, but I do remember that he had her like posted a lot, to the point where I was like, I would be upset. Like if I was his girlfriend, or if my boyfriend had this many pictures of another girl on his page, like it looked like they were dating. Like it looked like there was like it was the kind of friendship where you could tell that their separate friends were like, oh my God, like just date him, you know that he loves you, like that kind of friendship. I was like, oh, I'm getting weird vibes from this friendship. And she was really concerned about it. So yeah, we talked about it, not often, but I think we talked about it in depth, like maybe once or twice.
Okay.
The classic girl best friend. Always a toughie to navigate. Speaking of a tough one to navigate, what Adele and Marcy would uncover about their so-called bestie would shake them to the core.
You get a call from Marcy, who has like uncovered a bit of news.
Yeah. So the end of the story is when I get a call from Marcy. I don't remember what I was doing, because trauma does that to a person. No, I'm kidding. I don't remember what I was doing, but she calls me and she's like, she might have called or texted first, but she was like, hey, like, I need to talk to you right now. Like, this is an emergency. And I'm like, okay, like, what's up? What's wrong? And she was like, I was just talking to, I don't think they were her roommates. I think they were, so Marcy was on another sports team.
Okay.
In the past, and then ended up having to leave that sports team because of an injury that she had. But she was still friends with those girls, obviously her teammates or her old teammates. So I believe it was one of them that she was talking to, and like obviously all the sports teams know each other, you know what I mean? And so I don't remember exactly who it was, but she asked somebody, she was talking to the girls, and they were with athlete number 2. I think he was like around, or I don't know.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, like, how are you and Penny? And he was like, who? And she was like, what? And she was like, oh, like, your girlfriend? I'm so confused. And he was like, don't have a girlfriend? Don't know who Penny is. And we were like,
whoa.
So she witnessed that firsthand, and then she called me and was like, hey, gave me the rundown, and then she was like, so obviously I immediately went to Penny and confronted her about it, and now she is like in hysterics.
So Marcy already confronted Penny before talking to you even?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because she didn't assume that she was lying either. Like, she was just really confused.
Yeah.
Like, she was like,
why is he lying about
like
not having a girlfriend?
Literally, that was what she was like, hey, why is your boyfriend lying and saying he doesn't know who you are? Like, that's really concerning.
Super weird.
Yeah, like super odd behavior. Like, he's being a weird guy right now. Like, why would he lie on you like that?
Right.
And Penny like loses it, allegedly. I wasn't there, but apparently she like breaks down, and she's like, oh, it was all a lie. And Marcy was like,
so she confesses right there that everything is a lie.
Yeah, I guess at that point she was like, well,
got caught.
Nothing I can do about it now.
Right.
So yeah, she had confessed everything, and then I think Marcy was like, and now her mom wants to call me, and I think that was why she was calling me. She was like, I don't know what to do, like all this stuff is happening. And so I was like, okay, just stay where you are, I'm coming. And so I left my dorm, and then I came and met up with her. And I don't remember if Penny was with her at that time. I don't think that she was. I think Penny was in her dorm room, and I met up with Marcy like in the lobby of the dorm.
Okay.
And Penny's mom was calling Marcy's phone because Penny had given her mom Marcy's phone number.
Interesting.
And I was like, okay, what we're not about to do is pick up this phone call from this grown woman who's trying to call you because her daughter was lying to us. They could all be crazy for all we know. You're not picking up the
Right.
phone.
Another liar, another enabling mother. Are we sensing a trend here? I think we need to unpack this down the road.
I'm very like motherly protective, especially about my friends and that kind of thing, which like me and Marcy were the same age. So it didn't make like any difference really. Like I have no like more wisdom than she does, but I like raised my younger siblings for a bit there. So anytime things like this happen, I'm always like, okay, no, we are children and she needs to talk to like an adult. Because at this point I was like,
it was
18.
weird.
Yeah, I was like 18 or 19. I was not 20 yet.
Yeah.
And so I was still very much a child, and so was Marcy. And I was like, you're not going to pick up the phone and talk to this 47-year-old woman about how her daughter has been lying to us for 2 years. Like, that's what's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we didn't pick up, and then I think somehow we ended up on the phone with her mom anyways, but I don't remember how.
Yeah, you guys agreed to take a phone call, and then
I think Penny's mom called her, and then maybe we talked to her through her phone.
no way. So you were in the room with Penny while her mom was having
Yeah. After that, we ended up all going up to Penny's dorm room, and like that was why I know all of the details of all the lies, because she walked us through all of the details of all the lies.
So did you guys go up to her room to confront her and be like, "Hey, what the heck is going on?" Or was it more so like concerned friends, or was it just like we just need to figure out like what's going on?
I think it was more so the third option. Like we were like, I'm so confused. I don't understand what's going on. And then Penny was also very frantic. Like she was very much like freaking out and like just being like very much like had a like hear me out type of stance. Like she wanted to tell us all of the things, and we wanted to hear all of the things.
Yeah.
So we just kind of went up to her room, and she was just like telling us all these things. But then she also wanted us to talk to her mom.
Okay.
And so we did that.
Can you tell us like what she broke down for you guys? Like what were the actual lies that she told?
So basically with athlete number 1, she told us that the fact that I think at one point she had told us he like held open a door for her or like walked her home and they had a conversation, something like that, that was true. But everything after that she had made up.
So just completely made up an entire relationship.
Right. Yeah. She's like, don't worry, guys. Some of it was true. We did meet once. And I was like, oh.
He held the door for me one time going into
That's
chemistry.
basically the same. Yeah. And so, so she was like, yeah, like that did happen. And then I just made up the rest. Pardon? And so
everything she told you about athlete number 1, you know, spending quality time with him, being in like a talking stage, being in a flirtationship, and then a situationship, and then all of that
was just made up.
And so him talking to that girl in public
was completely fine because he was a single man who was allowed to do that.
And her breaking down in your car
was psychotic.
It's like, that's fair. That's fair.
Was crazy. Was crazy behavior a little bit.
So she just really was like in her feels for no particular reason.
Okay. Which like she had a lot of other stuff going on that wasn't boy related.
Okay.
But at that point it was like, I don't know if I believe any of that stuff either, because I don't have like receipts for any of the other things you've been telling me about that have been going on in your life. And she lived a very dramatic life, you know, like, and I'm not here to air her business, but like there were other aspects of her life, not only boys, that were just like very like, oh my gosh, you live like a movie. Which to some people I feel like that's like a red flag. They're like, oh well, obviously like if everything's dramatic in her life, like how could she not be lying? But I am one of those people. Like you have those like TikToks that are like that one friend who like everything always happens to. I am that friend. Like I am the friend who had like all the traumatic things, and I was in all of the things, and I've just had a very traumatic, like dramatic life. And so, you know, my friend lied to me for 2 years in college. Like all of these things happened to me. And so it wasn't shocking that I was meeting somebody who like all of these things were also happening to her, because I live a life like that. So I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense that like your entire life is in shambles. My entire life is in shambles. So I think we're all living the same life here. I think we can all sing. So I wasn't like shocked, but at that point it was like, okay, yeah, you could have been breaking down in my car about something else and just like lied and said it was about the boy, but also were any of the other things that you could have been breaking down about, were those true, or were you making those up too?
So true.
You never really know. But yeah, so all the little like flirtationships and all the interactions they had, which I don't remember any of them, but like all of the buildup that made it seem normal that they were dating to begin with was all like made up. And then at one point, one of the biggest things that she made up that was like really crazy, and I don't think I even talked about this on my TikTok in detail because I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and make this as concise as possible. So basically, one night we're all hanging out, and this was before she was injured, and we're all in, I think it was her dorm, and she gets a call from athlete number one, and basically he's like freaking out because him and his like best friend got caught with drugs on campus. And obviously, again, first of all, they're drugs. Also, this is a private Christian college. So like double no. Like you can't be caught with that kind of stuff. And so
but you're not here. She gets this call separate from you guys. Like you don't hear the call happening.
we can't hear it, but she's not separate from us. Like we're like as far as me and you are. Like it'd be like if I got a call right now, I was like, oh, hold on a second. It was like that. And so we're like, so at first she's like, oh my God, like are you okay? Like what's happening? We're like, what's going on? Like what's happening? Tell us. And she's like,
put it on speaker.
Hold on. Right. She's like, hold on. Oh my gosh, like babe, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I don't think if they were at the babe stage at that point, but obviously I'm not going to say his name. But she was saying his name a lot. And she's like, that's so crazy. Like, okay, well, and she's using the name of the security guard. I was really good friends with the security guards on campus. Randomly, because I'm just like one of those people that I'm just friends with everybody. So I knew all the security guards by name, and she's like, oh my gosh, like Billy Bob Joe is out there right now and he's helping them. Security Billy Bob is at their car and he's doing a search. And I'm like, oh my gosh, not Billy Bob. Like, I'm so invested because I know all these people. And the best friend that got caught with the actual drugs, keep following, was the friend that my friend knew. From the beginning. Like, that's why I knew athlete number one, because his best friend was very good. They had, like, his best friend had, like, dated-ish one of my friends. So I knew, like, him. He was the villain in my brain. I was like, oh, he did her so dirty. And so he was one that got caught with the drugs. So I text my friend, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, blah, 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 got caught with drugs tonight. And my friend is like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm so confused. I don't know what's happening.
Y'all are out here spreading rumors that you don't even know are rumors.
Yes. And, like, this is a serious thing because after finding out that she was lying, like, if that had gone higher than, like, just my friends, like, that could have ruined their future. Like, they would have gotten kicked out of school for a rumor going around that they had drugs. Like, that will ruin their lives. Yeah. And so it was just wild for her to be like, that was all fake. I was like, what? Because it was like a long, like a 45-minute situation where she like had locked herself in a room at one point because like we were distracting her and she was trying to talk to him and we were like sitting outside the door trying to listen in on her conversation and like we can't hear him, but we can hear her talking to him.
It's so crazy because it's just so theatrical that I'm like, how is she like...
I was like, give her the award.
Give her the award.
Oscar nomination, she is an actress because...
A star.
Like, even like her phone screen didn't light up one time. So I don't know if she like powered her phone off before she did it to make sure, because like motion sensor, like it should show me that there's not a call. Didn't show me a single time. And then after the drug situation was over, she was like, oh, like, they're going to go to IHOP or, like, Waffle House or something. She's like, yeah, they're going to go get food. Like, okay, like, oh, do I want any food? Actually, no, I think I'm good. Like, I'm okay. Okay, have fun. We'll talk later. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then that was it. But it was, like, such a theatrical night. Like, after she got the phone, we were like, whoo, like, drugs and waffles and Billy Bob. And it's just been a night. Like, man, girls, our lives. Am I right? Yeah, she lied. So... that was all made up, and then, obviously him being with the girl was totally okay because, I mean, I don't think he ended up dating that girl anyways, but it was fine if he did because they weren't together to begin with. And then later on, after she started dating athlete number two, athlete number one actually started dating my friend, one of my friend's friends. And I was, like, so upset because the the girl he was dating, I was like, she's beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, like so sweet, so kind, so tall, and just like model-esque. And I just love this girl. We had never spoken, but I was like, she's just so nice. And I cannot believe that she is with the likes of you. You scum, cheating, disgusting man. Turns out he was fine.
He's great.
Turns out he was just a
nice
normal guy who was being normal. And I had like seen them. Like I went and saw them at like a fair or something that my school had, and I was like being so weird to him.
Wow.
I was like giving him like dirty looks.
Oh my gosh.
So sorry, sir, if you're watching this. That was my bad.
That's
but
so crazy.
Yeah. Treating him all kinds of different ways. Didn't need to. So she told us that was a lie. And then obviously athlete number 2, they had like never spoken, I don't think. So all of that was just
so bizarre. They'd never spoken.
He didn't know who she was.
Okay, so when Penny is like divulging all this to you guys, she's like not holding back. It's like basically she got caught and she's spilling the beans. She's like saying everything that she's lied about, and eventually you guys get on the phone with her mom, and her mom, like, is she like kind of defending her? Like, what does that conversation
absolutely
look like?
100%.
Okay,
Her mom was
that's
defending
so
her
strange.
from the beginning. Like her mom was like, oh, like, guys, we're so sorry that this happened, but like Penny's always been like this. Pardon? And she was like, yeah, like this is something she's struggled with since like high school. So then why did you send her here to us? Yeah, like excessive lying.
It's just so strange that someone can make up that much,
Like for so long,
and to keep it going
and keep up with it. That I was like, you were dedicated. Like, did you have any hobbies, or was it just like the consistent lying that really kept you going? But yeah, and her mom was like, oh, like I know you guys are just like such good girls and such good friends to her that you'll never tell anybody about this ever.
Girl, we on a podcast.
Yeah, sorry, girl. But I never said that. Like, she was like, I just know that you guys are good girls. And I was like,
But two things can be true, because like obviously you're a very sweet human being, but also like you were lied to for a year and a half, 2 years by somebody.
Yeah.
This is like affecting people's lives. She's making up rumors about a drug bust, and you know it got so bad that athlete number 2 ended up getting a restraining order.
Yeah,
Or a
so
protective
he
order?
ended up taking, I called it a restraining order like in my TikTok because I don't know what it's called. But basically, there's like campus security. We have like a Title IX type of thing.
Okay.
Where like you can take out a campus restraining order. So like they can't be within a certain, range of you on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So he took out one of those against her. I heard about that through the grapevine.
Okay.
But she was already gone by then, really, so it didn't.
Gotcha.
Like, by the time that he got that.
So did she leave after this whole thing blew up in her face? Like she left campus, like dropped out of school.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if she like dropped out. We were also, I want to say we were closer to the end of the semester. I don't really remember. Obviously, she dropped out of the face of my life at that point. Like I was like, okay, bye. So we didn't really talk after that. She was on campus for a little while. Like I remember I did like see her maybe like once or twice, like literally like because I was walking this way and she was walking this way type of thing. But she did end up, this must have been maybe around like Christmas time, because I remember that she had to move dorms because she couldn't stay in the dorm that she was in, probably because the girls in her dorm found out about it. And like when your Title IX is all messed up like that, like you have to take other, And so she ended up moving into a different dorm. But even in that dorm, she didn't stay there for that long. And then I would assume she dropped out because she wasn't in college with me for the rest of my time there. I don't know if she did like online or whatever, but she left campus essentially.
And
after
you guys
that.
didn't keep in touch?
No.
Okay. Did she ever try to reach out to you?
Not really.
Okay.
She blocked me and Marcy on like everything, because at one point we did try and like, I think we were gonna try and reach out just to like check up on her and like see how she was doing, because like we did like feel bad for her for some reason. Like we felt bad. We were like, oh, like this is actually really harsh. Like she doesn't have any friends now. She's a liar. But whatever.
I think that's a fair feeling though, because like if you develop a relationship with somebody, even though a lot of it was a lie, it's still like it's like a human being that you care about.
Because that was really all we talked about. Was another thing that made it feel really like
weird.
Like really. Is like all we talked about were boys. That was all she ever wanted to talk about. And so like a large part of our relationship was built off of the boys
Lie.
that she was dating, and
Yeah.
then that was a lie. So it was like, okay, well then who are you? Like, I don't know you. I don't know really anything else about you. The only things that I knew about her, and I don't know how much she talked to Marcy about this, but she had like a lot going on with her family, and I at the time didn't have a lot going on with my family, but my mom passed away when I was 16, and so she was talking to me about a lot of like her family situations. But then towards the end, she started to lose me on that. Like, I remember we were on the phone one time over one of the breaks before she had told us that it was all a lie, and she was like, yeah, like this thing is happening with my mom, and it's just like really hard for me, and like like you wouldn't get it. Pardon.
Whoa.
I was like, no, you're so right, girl. I could never understand what you're going through.
That's actually insane.
That's actually the craziest thing I've ever heard. And that's insane. You have mom problems? If only I could understand at your level. Like, okay.
That's intense. That's
Yeah.
actually really messed up.
Yeah. So it was like, but those were the only two things that I knew about her. It's like all this stuff that was happening with her family, and she'd give me like really random, crazy details about that, and then boy stuff.
Okay.
So, and the stuff with her family was so like, whoa, that like after finding out all the boy stuff that seemed normal was a lie, I was like, oh, well then this stuff is probably a lie too, and I'm not about to come around and find out. I'm not gonna, no.
I get that.
So yeah, at that point it was like, what are we talking to you about? But after a few
Yeah.
months we were like, okay, is she okay? Like, we haven't heard from her in a while. She's not on campus anymore. Like, is she alive? So we went to go check in on her, and I think Marcy was the one who noticed that like she had blocked us on Snapchat and on Instagram and TikTok. Like, she blocked us just like across the board.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay.
She just wanted a fresh start, and was probably seeing you guys reminded her of her lies and like the.
Oh, that's such a nice way to think about it. I was like, she's probably lying to somebody else now. And
Well, that
so-
might be true too.
Yeah.
But I think like so often when people get caught in lies, like you become a source of like the shame, because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that person like sees me for what I am, which is this is an assumption. I don't know if this is how she
Right.
felt, but I'm like, it's very possible that she was like seeing you guys move on, be happy, and she's like, those
Yeah.
are my friends. The only reason I had them was because I was lying. Nothing I said was true. And it's also very possible that she like blocked you guys and then went and started a whole other lie with another
Yeah.
group of friends. Very, very possible. I think that's gonna be a cycle that probably continues in her life until she like figures that out.
Yeah.
And like probably does need some intense therapy. It's just like, I think that that's one thing with the show that we really want to like jump into is like uncovering why people lie, because I just can't I really can't understand like why she would create like two entirely
Yeah.
fake relationships. Your whole friendship with her is based on a lie. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure it felt icky, but like I know I've literally just been like scammed on the internet in the past few months, and the way I felt I don't even know the word. It's like, one, embarrassed, two, like icked out. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like somebody just like misled me, and I
Yes,
bought it,
purposefully.
intentionally misled me, and I like bought into it, and like it just gave me the heebie-jeebies, like
Yeah.
creeped me out. And I feel like it's similar when people lie. It's that feeling of like deceit, and it's like, how can someone look at me in my eyes, look at me
directly in your eyes
and lie to me?
to
It
your
is
face,
so bizarre.
and then watch you like emote off of their lie,
Right.
and just be like totally fine with it.
And like
you
feel the emotions with her, like when she's crying in
like
your car.
you took our empathy knowing you were lying, and then went
Yeah.
home and just like went to sleep.
It's so strange. So did you ever talk to athlete 1 or 2 after all this?
No, actually, I never
Okay.
spoke to athlete 1. I know he's doing very well now.
Okay, pop off. What
Yeah,
team is he on?
he's doing really great. Sport wise, I see you out there signing stuff. And
Hey.
I don't know how that works, but my friends are very happy for him that are in the sports area. So really happy for him.
Love that.
Athlete number 2. So I did talk to them in passing, because I think athlete number 2, he's just like a friendly guy. So I think I saw him at some point, and we probably like shared a laugh or something, but he has no idea that I know what I know.
Right.
Like, he doesn't know that.
Okay.
And I thought about asking him about it, and it was just like always like too soon. Like, I was still like processing, and then I just ended up forgetting about it and got caught up in my own stuff.
Yeah.
And then athlete number 1, like, we had spoken because, again, he was dating somebody that I knew of. So we spoke like maybe once or twice, but never about
Yeah.
like the petty situation or anything like that. And I
Wow.
honestly am not even sure if athlete number 1 knows about it.
It's
like,
so
I don't know if he knows that she
crazy.
did that. Yeah.
It turns out, Adele wasn't the only one who encountered a pathological liar in college.
hearing your story, I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy because, so like I said, me and my roommate, my freshman year roommate became best friends. We became really good friends with our suite mates as well.
Okay.
And then the next year we all moved to a house and we had another roommate. Amazing.
Cute.
Another best girlfriends. We go to each other's weddings. We're in each other's weddings. Like amazing girls to this day. And I met a girl, let's call her Tina.
Okay.
I met a girl named Tina. And she was in one of my classes, and she was so funny.
Okay.
She was so different from, like, any of the other girls I was hanging out with. She was just, like, spunky, funny, vibrant, like, kind of wild. Like, kind of, I don't know if I'd say party girl, but, like, well, my friends are party girls. I don't know. Like, I was, like, the calm one in the group, I guess you would say. Like, I don't know. But she was just, like, just different.
Okay.
And I brought her into my friend group, and I remember my roommate, Jordan, not liking her.
Like, got weird vibes.
Yes, and I became really close with this girl, Tina, for like a semester. For it was like one semester where we became really close. Like, we just had this one class together, but we were like, our schedules were just similar. We were doing similar things. And every time I would bring her around Jordan, my roommate, Jordy would be like kind of weird. And I was like, Jordan, I remember thinking, I was like, Jordan's like low-key jealous of my friendship. I was like, she's
being a hater. Like, you love me so much.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, and in my mind, I was like, Jordan's probably just like feeling a little envious of
like territorial.
Yes, of course, because we were best friends. We were inseparable.
Right.
And now I've got the same like 3 classes or whatever it was. Like,
Right.
we were
I'm
doing
bonding
a
with this other
class and then
person.
we were doing an intramural sport and like, I was spending a lot of time with Tina.
Yeah.
And Jordy kept warning me, and she was like, something is like weird about this girl. I don't know what it is. And I was like, you're literally like, and I didn't want to say you're being jealous. So I was like, no, you're like looking too much into it.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
think so.
overthinking it. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm bringing Tina around all my friends. One day, my girlfriends and I have a party at our house, which we weren't supposed to have. I was literally an RA, and we were also at a private school that was like, you weren't allowed to drink at it and stuff like that.
No.
We low-key were like throwing a basement party. And all the girls that came over, like if you had a bag or a purse, we put it in my roommate Chelsea's room, I think. And at the end of the night, like everyone's bags had been gone through. And somebody stole cash and like valuables from someone's purse. Low-key. Everyone's shit got ransacked. Tina did it. Like, we don't know. We could never prove it. But like somebody was in my house and went through all the girls' bags that were like in Chelsea's room.
And like all signs pointed to Tina.
I mean, yes, because Tina, we found out we didn't know at the time, so like I didn't think anything of it. I just thought some weirdo.
Yeah, obviously nobody was like Tina.
Like,
yeah,
like nobody thought, like we didn't know which one person it was.
Right.
We actually thought it might have been one of the boys.
That'd be my first guess.
Exactly.
Sorry, boys.
I'm like, we got these dingy ass boys.
Yeah,
in
like
here.
they're broke, like they're trying to take their girl out.
Like they're probably taking out one of us on a date the next week with the money they stole from all
took
of us.
Yeah.
Literally, like that was my thought process. But we found out later that Tina actually had a roommate situation. She was living with girls, and she was like, is it called klepto? When you steal?
Kleptomaniac?
Yeah, she was like stealing little things from them, like stealing like $20 from their wallet.
That's
she was
so
stealing
much in
like
college. That's so much
no,
money.
literally $20 in college.
Is like my weekly like
you're kidding.
tuition.
No, I know. So like she would steal like a $20 bill from someone's wallet, but like it was like they could never like catch her doing these things.
Right.
She was stealing like little pieces of jewelry. She was stealing clothing. She was stealing just like, I'm trying to think of like other things that happened, like sentimental items from these girls, and they started going missing. Yeah, super sad. So then it actually all like came to fruition because she got caught with all this stuff. Like it's like they found like a stash of all these things that she'd been stealing.
On
Obviously,
campus? Like in her room?
In her room, yeah. Like
Tina.
I guess I know. Literally, I'm like, girl, you like
Put it in your car or something.
I know, like pawn it off,
Like sell it.
Get
like,
your cash.
Also, why steal it if you just like? Did she wear the stuff around other people?
There was one time. So I will say that Tina and I were not like the same size. So like it wasn't like something that I would like. I don't like. I looking back, I'm like she never borrowed any of my clothes, and not that we weren't the same size. So like there's no like I can recollect and be like there's just like I don't remember a single time I like lent her anything from my closet. But I did have this like shirt that would like it was like a shirt with like a phrase on it, and it was like so special to me.
Yeah.
Like
That
it
was
said,
your shirt.
it literally said, this is so cheesy. It said, "Strong is the new skinny."
Oh,
And like, and I was like in my workout era, and like,
You were like,
I
so
was like,
true.
yeah, I was like, it's so true,
Girl power.
which like is so funny because like it's just such a cheesy shirt, but. It was a shirt. I think my trainer gave it to me, and I used to like really struggle with my body image, and like I always
too.
wanted to like be thin or whatever, and like I just wasn't built like, I guess like skinny. And so
Right.
my trainer gave me this shirt as a gift. It was like, you're gonna be strong. Like it's so much more powerful to be strong. So it was a sentimental shirt to me, and I
Yeah.
had it for like a couple of years, and I saw her. So flash forward. She went home for Christmas, blocked me on everything out of the blue. Like after all of this stuff came out, she like got kicked out of her room situation for stealing. I never called her out on any of the weird lies or klepto stuff that we kind of
Right.
like pieced together. But she blocked me on everything, but I saw this picture of her wearing my "Strong is the new skinny" shirt. And I went through my closet because I was like, no. Like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that she would have this shirt of mine. Like, I definitely wouldn't have, like, so she at some point went through my stuff and stole my "Strong is the new skinny" shirt. And
Why?
I know.
Why?
I
Why that
know.
one? Why that one? Like,
I know.
what?
Of all things.
I feel
and
like you
I'm
could have found that one.
No,
like,
you could go to the mall and get it printed
literally,
if you wanted to.
like Amazon. And did we try?
I
No.
know. Maybe I need to like reorder myself one. But it was just like such a weird thing where like after all of this stuff, like she blocked me and everything. I never got like closure. It was so sad. Like I would reach out to her. She was like one of my close friends for a full semester. And I just saw like months later that she was wearing my shirt and
Like with no shame.
Then she got kicked off of campus, and we actually don't know the reason why. Like to this day, like we don't know what
like
happened.
if it was related or not.
Yeah, like I think something must have happened, and she like got in enough trouble. Maybe she had multiple like stealing
strikes and stuff.
Yeah, there was one time my car got broken into. It wasn't her,
Oh.
but like everyone's like, no, I didn't have anything valuable in there. But then I was like, okay, I have to file with my insurance. And then she's like, well, I did have a diamond ring in the back seat. I was like, what? Wait, what? I'm like, wait, why wouldn't you say that like when, like last night when my car got broken into when we were all out or whatever. But she was like trying to like get my insurance to like pay her for a diamond ring.
What?
So like all these, it was just such a weird thing. But again, like, why would somebody lie about like all these? That one obviously is financial.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. But then also like how financial was it? Because she wasn't selling the stuff. So like
It's so
if you're
true.
finding the stash, like I mean, I can't excuse stealing, period. But like if you're
Yes.
stealing to get money,
Right.
then why would you not like steal and then go to Plato's closet immediately after, girl? Like get on your Zoom every morning at 10.
Literally.
Get in the car.
We're businesswomen around here.
exactly,
Like if
like,
you're gonna do business dirty, do it
do
right.
it quickly. Like, have we
Yes.
not seen Good Girls seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Thank
like,
you.
wash the dirty money. Like,
Yeah. Be efficient.
like, all the time.
Like,
but
yeah.
like to just like store it away. I'm like,
and then
so
wear
did you
it.
need-
I think
and
maybe
take a
that's why
selfie?
she blocked me. Like maybe
She's
she
like, oh,
blocked me so
yikes.
she could
I
wear
really
my
love this shirt. So
Literally.
Susie's got to go.
She's gotta
like
go.
what? I just don't.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I feel bad for people who didn't get like closure on it. 'Cause a lot of people ask me about that. Like, oh, well, do you feel like you should like talk to her again? And I didn't really feel like that, but I think that's because Penny was so open about like why. Like I asked her why, and like we
Yeah.
talked about it. So I didn't feel the need. Like I heard her why, and I was like, nope, not good enough for me. So and I left.
So that was your closure.
But right, and that was my
Yeah.
closure. Because her like explanation was that it was different from her mom's. Like her mom was like, oh well, her dad, but she was like, oh well, it just felt like when I was talking about like boys that like you guys cared what I was talking about. Like it felt like I was interesting when I was talking about boys, and so I just kept on like making things up, and then eventually it got to the point where like I couldn't backtrack on my lies, so I just kept going, which was like sad, but also like.
Yeah.
No,
it's
girl.
like sad, but also like just too bizarre.
And too long. That'd be different if it was like
One night.
lie.
Yeah.
And she was like, actually,
This
guys,
guy talked to me.
Like, we didn't date. Like, we didn't go on a date last week. Like, I lied.
I know.
Then it'd still be like, pardon? But
Right.
it wouldn't be as like, what? But it was like lies on lies on lies. Like, and then you lied about athlete number 1, and then like you felt bad, but not bad enough to not start a new lie.
About athlete
Insane.
number 2.
Insane. So yeah, but like that was kind of my closure on that situation. But
Okay.
for like your situation where she just like up and disappeared, I think then yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, hello? Like
It
I
was
would be
so weird. It definitely was. It was like it was really sad in the moment.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh my god, like this is like really hurtful.
Yeah.
And sad. And then as like time went on and we started to hear like, oh well, she actually got kicked out of her dorm because of stealing.
Right.
And then it was like, oh well, maybe she was the one that went through all of our bags.
Like,
that
actually,
one
now that I'm
time.
thinking about it,
Now that I'm thinking about
the
it.
like piecing together
Yes.
like the debrief for like the next 4 months
Oh,
after is like
absolutely.
so crucial. Like me and Marcy, whatever I named her,
Mm-hmm.
we would text like which we're still friends to this day. I texted her like
Yeah.
last week, but we would text like afterwards, like, oh my gosh, remember that one time that she said blah 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 blah?
Yeah.
And because one time, podcast insider, I forgot all this till just now. One time she invited me to go on one of their like dates. Like she was like, oh, like me and I don't remember if it was athlete number 1 or athlete number 2.
Okay.
Probably number 2 because they were actually together. But she's like, oh, like he invited me to go bowling with the team tonight and I don't want to go by myself. So like you should come and like we can go together. And I was like, okay, but I had like other plans, I think. So I was like, oh, I'll try to like make it and see if I can make it. And then I couldn't make it and I don't think she ended up going, or maybe she did. I don't remember. But like
Okay.
what was she
were you
gonna do
gonna do? Yeah.
if I like went? Or like were they actually going bowling and did she know? And was she gonna have us just like show up? And like it was just, I was like, what was her backup plan? Like, what was her backup plan? Like, she would
so crazy.
try and involve us in their lives. And so it was weird because it was like, okay, well, if you were lying, like, how, like, she wasn't taking any precautions to make sure she wasn't caught.
Yeah.
Which was weird. But
Interesting.
yeah.
I fear that the discovery of all these lies and the trauma that follows could change a person forever.
Has it affected your ability to trust like
Yeah.
afterwards? Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I like did not have trust issues prior to this. Really, like I was like la la la. Like I just kind of believe everything at face value, and like now I had a little bit of trust issues beforehand, but not like anything extreme. And it's not like to the point now where I don't believe anything ever, but it is to the point where once I find out that somebody has lied to me, even in like a very small way, I like lose it. Like I get really upset. And like my boyfriend has this thing that he'll do. He's not a liar, but like he's one of those people that like that's his sense of humor. So he'll be like, "Oh yeah," and like, "Did you know that Mars was like actually like taken down and put in a little jar and they shook it up and then they threw it back up?" Like something like that, you
Yeah.
know? Like he'll say something like that, but like something that sounds believable.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Really?" And he'll be like, "No." And I'm like, "Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Don't
You're
tell me
messing
something.
with
Yeah,
my-
don't tell me something
Yeah.
that's not." So things like that. And then I had a friend recently that like he like told like a little white lie on accident type of thing, and I got so upset and like like stopped talking to him. I was like, "We are not friends anymore. Do not contact me." And I was in therapy at that time, thank goodness. And I went to my therapist and was like, "And can you believe?" And she was like, "Yes, I feel like this is not that big of a deal. I feel like you're overreacting." And I was like, "I am not overreacting." And we're friends again now. But like in cases like that, like I can look back and see how like I just don't do well being lied to in any capacity, which I mean, fair, just stop lying to me, guys.
100%.
But like even like little like things that are not that big of a deal, I like will lose my mind because it's just so like you said, like icky, and like you feel so stupid, and everybody's like, "Well, how did you not notice that?" Like, you know, like in Friends when Ross marries the girl and then she turns out to be lesbian, everybody's like, "How did you not know?" Like, like they're like, "And you're so stupid. Like, you didn't see the signs. Sorry, I didn't assume that she was lying to me." So yeah, it has changed a lot of like the way that I deal with people's trust. Like, I'll trust somebody, but then if they lie to me, I'm like,
I'm the same way.
gone. Yeah, you're like, you lost me. So I'm trying to get better now at like giving people grace, and like people do like give little white lies sometimes, and it's not always that extreme. But yeah, it took its toll.
Okay, so I have our last segment of the show is called Live, Laugh, Lie.
Okay.
If you could live that part of your life over again, what would you do different?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, wait. Am I living it over again knowing this time that she's lying?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I would probably ask for more, like, photo evidence is probably what I would ask for. Like, I'd ask for more photo evidence. I'd ask to, like, see him more. Like, there were times when I would be, like, dropping her off, and she would be like, "Oh, like, he's about to come. Like, let me just go ahead and get out the car, and you can leave." And I would just kind of do it because I had other places to be. But I guess if I knew, I would kind of try and, like, stick around and catch her, because she would lie like that a lot. Like, that's why it didn't seem suspicious, because I always it felt like I always had the option to meet him or like to hang out with them, and I just didn't because I was busy. So I'd probably follow through on one of those and just kind of like catch her in a lie that way, maybe.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that you look back on with your story and laugh about?
It's not many humorsome moments. It was all so dark. No. Yeah, I mean, I think, well, looking back and also just kind of living in the moment, it brings me joy how much closer me and Marcy have become because of that. Like, we definitely trauma bonded through that situation. Like, that is something that, like, only she understands what it was like to live through that situation. And it's so nice because when you're lied to and to that extent, and for that long period of time, like, I feel so bad for girls who were lied to from, like, their boyfriends.
Yeah.
That's, like, so, like, icky. Like, I feel like that would feel like he was in my skin lying to me. Like, it's just so, and you're the only person, like, you feel so, like, I was manipulated, and I felt so much less dumb because I was with somebody else.
Yeah.
So I was like, not only did she lie to me and, like, fool me, but she also lied to you. And I think that you're an intelligent person, and you think that I'm an intelligent person. So, like, we are not the problem. Like, we are smart girls. She's just odd. So that was kind of nice. And it was fun to, like, it became fun after we accepted what happened to look back and be like, and another thing. Like, that's kind of funny. So yeah, just me and Marcy became really close, and we still are really close through that. So that's kind of a positive side that, like, makes me laugh that comes out of that. Yeah.
Okay, and then what's the juiciest lie you've ever told?
Oh, that's hard.
I know, it's a tough one.
I'm not, like, a big liar.
I love when our guests say that because I said the same thing.
I'm not a big liar.
Yeah.
Actually, that's actually not true. Wait, actually, that's not true at all.
Okay, what's your
I
best
actually
lie?
do lie, like, multiple times a day.
For fun?
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
It's for, like, business purposes.
Oh, interesting.
My mom
Okay.
used to do that. Like, she would, like, I remember watching her as a kid, like, she'd be on a call and be like, yeah, like, okay, just call me in a second. I'm about to go into a meeting right now and give me, like, an hour, okay? And then we would go into the froyo store. Like, that kind of thing. Like, she would lie about those kinds of things. So, like, silly lies. That, like, made her seem busy. Like, she'd be like, yeah, I have to go on a very important business trip. And she'd be, like, going on vacation or something. Like, she would tell, like, me and my brothers, like, oh, yeah, I'm very busy. She's, like, taking a nap. Like, things like that. So I guess those kinds of lies.
Those are good. I think
Yeah.
good
Like,
lies.
those are, like, you know, like, strategic type of lies. Like, I'd
Yeah.
be like, sorry, I can't. I'm booked on Tuesday. But I'm not booked. I'm sleeping.
love
So,
it.
yeah, things like that. But other than that, I'm real cut and dry, so I
Love
don't
that.
lie about much else. Yeah.
That's the best. That's a great answer.
Thanks.
Okay, Adele, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast
Thank
all the
you
way
for
from
having
Florida.
me.
I want to encourage anyone listening right now, like, if you have a crazy story, like, this could be you. Like, you are
Could
here
be.
in Los Angeles telling your
All
story.
done for a purpose.
Yes,
It all
thank
came
you
to a
so much
head.
for coming.
Thank you for
Where can
having
people
me.
follow you?
Yeah, so I'm Maya Adele, Myahadele, on literally everything. Instagram, TikTok are my main two, and then you might find me randomly on, like, YouTube Shorts one day or something. I don't know.
Fun.
But yeah, find me there. We're transitioning in content, so
I love
let
it.
me know what you guys think over the next few weeks. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
You're so
being here.
beautiful.
So are you.
Stop.
Everyone that's met you is like, oh my God, she's so cute and
That's
beautiful
so
and
sweet.
fun, and her
That's
energy's
so
great. So
sweet.
thank you for being
This
here.
was so fun.
Good.
Thank you.
Yay.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.